In the age 783, the warriors of Earth were faced with a new enemy, one that may have possibly been the strongest they had ever encountered in their history of battles. It was a great struggle, but in the end, they were victorious thanks to a mysterious new energy. I am just geeking out right now. This starts out like one of the side chapters of Dragon Ball Multiverse, even showcasing what year, what age, where it's happening, when it's happening. It is explaining everything, almost making it feel like this is one of the connected universes from Dragon Ball Multiverse. So now we know that this is happening in conjunction with the main story of Multiverse, and the artwork for Cell Max versus Gohan, I mean, look at it. This is probably the best Cell Max has looked, even better than the movie. He is ferocious, he has got a lot more detail, he looks like a far more greater threat and a savage creature. The details of the blur lines and the motion compared to the original Cell Max design, it does not even compare to this. This is just such great artwork. I absolutely love this opening page. Now, it does go the same route as the Dragon Ball Super manga. It is retelling the story of the Dragon Ball Super superhero arc, but in only like 2 pages. This page right here, we get a clean shot of Gohan. I mean, look at him. Look at that arm, man. Look at the way he's designed. He is just a beast, completely out of control, but completely honed in on Cell Max. Gohan has finally awakened his true power. And now the events after the superhero arc are finally commencing, because you only need like 2 pages to explain what happened. We don't need an entire manga arc to tell us what we already seen, but now we get to see something new. We get to see Goku in his After Z outfit fighting against Vegeta on planet Beerus. But I like this little excerpt right here. It says, "This mysterious power that even he has still yet to fully understand will not be sealed away again," meaning our boy Gohan can come into this transformation when he needs it most. As you can see, this is a scene that we did not get to see in the arc, where Goku is fighting and training with Vegeta, and they both sense what Gohan can do. They understand that the new pinnacle is on Earth and not in the stars. We come back to Piccolo, who is in the middle of meditation on top of the pillar to survive the blast from the Gamma attack. And we can see right here that Piccolo is struggling. He is struggling remembering what ended up happening, and he is doing training, but at the same time it looks like the fight itself may have taken its toll on him. Because in contrast with how calm the day is, how calm Earth is at the moment, he is not there. He is back on the battlefield facing off against Cell Max. It is obvious in this fight that Piccolo is on the back foot. He is not in any way, shape, or form a real threat against this monster. This monster is tearing him apart. He's just biding time. The fact that Piccolo is remembering this, to me, means that he has maybe a bit of PTSD from the fight itself, because the fight was a knock'em sock'em drawn out battle. It was brutal. Piccolo was bleeding from everywhere, so he may be remembering what ended up happening, trying to do the best he can. Right now he's doing this image training, facing off against Cell Max again. With all the information that he knows, the experience that he had against them, Cell Max is still too strong to take down on his own. And I mean, in this training, Piccolo is trying everything against Cell Max, even throwing a light grenade dead center at him after he just got hit not only with Piccolo's attack, but with his own. And Cell Max is just completely unfazed. He is not worried about Piccolo whatsoever, not in the slightest, and continues to beat the living hell out of him, similar to what happened during the movie. But as Cell Max jumps to deliver the final blow, Piccolo releases the image training. And as you can see, the image training just isn't something that's in his head, it's something that's actively happening. It is a form of training that literally pushes him back almost off the cliff. And with this training alone, Piccolo says it's enough. That is good for today. It's going to take a lot more training to defeat Cell Max in his head on his own with his new power, understanding his new power, being able to use it and tap into it at will. It says Piccolo has been training this power for the past week, trying to harness it, but again, even with this fight, the image training, everything, there is probably still a tinge of PTSD that is stopping Piccolo from delivering a final destructive blow. Remembering and using this traumatic moment as training probably is preventing him from finding a solution to destroying Cell Max in his head. With that, he thinks about whether Gohan is doing the exact same thing. If Gohan is trying to master this new transformation that he unlocked. We find Gohan in the middle of a Zoom call, and it looks like he's at work describing and explaining the discoveries that he's made on these Saiyans. I've told you guys before, the Saiyans are extremely important to understanding what happened in Superhero with Gohan and his new beast transformation, but he's found something else. He's found that these yellow ants are not the only ones that exist. There is another island with different types of ants that emit different colors. Now, I don't know if Blancoverse is having a go at us, but it seems like they figured out the, say, ant version of the story, just like we did, and they're kind of hinting that other transformations will evolve if the need be different colors per se. He even goes as far as to say some of them have different colors that they kind of go through, similar to different transformations, Super Saiyan 1, Super Saiyan 2, that kind of thing. And so I like the reference to the Saiyan thing because this is kind of a new discovery that we found for the movie on exactly what Gohan's new transformation really is and the basis of it. Even with Piccolo, I mean, I know he wished his, but it's the same exact thing. But Piccolo, upon hearing, he has really good hearing, what Gohan is talking about, he is a little bit upset, like, you're kind of talking about the exact same thing from before and not looking into what the hell happened to you because you transformed into a completely different animal. And I understand where Piccolo is coming from, but Piccolo doesn't know what it means to have a career or a job. And so Gohan is still completing his job and completing what his assignment was to be. But I just love, like, the even added flavor that certain colors are more powerful or more terrifying in case their nest is in danger, like they just cycle through them kind of thing. It was really important. These ants are really important to Dragon Ball, and I'm not kidding. Piccolo bursts in, wondering why Gohan's staying up this late talking about ants, but it seems like Gohan really wasn't on a Zoom call. He was kind of recording his findings, and Piccolo, like, broke his concentration, broke the recording, kind of. So, yeah, I understand that. It gets kind of annoying when someone interrupts your recording. I get where Gohan's going with this, so he kicks Piccolo out. You wait out there while I get everything handled in here. Piccolo is just a little bit dumbfounded because after everything that just happened, he would assume that Gohan would go right back to training. And look at Videl, look how cute she is. Like, she's over here with a little cup. Like, this is in the middle of the night. Gohan's still working, burning the midnight fire. And we have Videl here just helping him out, give him some coffee, even Piccolo, even though he, doesn't really take anything. But I think that's really cute. Piccolo is underestimating how important the job that Gohan has actually is to him. And not only that, Gohan seems to have fallen back into, oh, don't worry, everything's going back to normal type of thing, which kind of bums me out because I feel like this is like the most realistic take as to what would happen with Gohan after a situation like this, like 7 days later or something. But yeah, it just seems like very, very, very specific and on point. To be honest, I don't think Gohan would go right back to training, but on the other hand, he could naturally be more powerful or so powerful right now where he doesn't really need to train all that often or all that much to gain access to this transformation. Let's see where the story is going to go. Gohan even tells Piccolo straight up that, like, yeah, once he's got some free time, that free time's going to his family, which I absolutely love, and I believe that wholeheartedly from the Gohan that we have, that he's a family guy. And actually he says that if it's something that will make Piccolo at ease is that he still feels different. He feels strange since the transformation. He feels not the same. And I think that the artists for Dragon Ball Blancoverse have really gone into detail, specifically with Gohan's hair here, because his Gohan's hair is not even close to what it was back in the Superhero or DBS. It looks more like a smaller version of the ginormous hair that we got for the Beast Gohan transformation, so physically it looks like he actually changed a little bit as well. Gohan explains that this power has not left him in the visualization of him just sitting there, and the Blanco, I'm going to call it Blanco power because I like that, the Blanco power just maneuvering around him and engulfing him still when he's just normal. This is kind of what I assumed the Mystic or the Ultimate Gohan transformation would have been, like him in his base, nothing much changed, but it looks like the Beast Gohan transformation is having that effect. Because Piccolo's straight up like, dude, you seem like different. You seem different. The ki seems like it was divine, but not really. Like he couldn't really sense it. It was unusual. It was something on its own. And Gohan is ready to find out what it is. He actually asked Piccolo to help him find out what it is, because if Piccolo didn't come to him, he would have gone to Piccolo. So out in the middle of nowhere with a what looks like a broken down castle in the background, I don't know what visual representation from Dragon Ball this is supposed to be a mimic of, but we get Gohan versus Piccolo, or at least Gohan showing what he's got, because Piccolo tells him in a very Paragus type of way, unleash your new form, let's go. Gohan is at the threshold but pulls back because, and probably the best way for this to happen, and honestly I love that it doesn't have a name yet. He hasn't named it Beast Gohan, we've named it Beast Gohan. Gohan doesn't know what it is. Piccolo knows what Orange Piccolo is, but Gohan doesn't know what Beast Gohan is. He hasn't named it. So since Piccolo has named his transformation Orange Piccolo, Gohan wants to name himself White Gohan, which is probably the worst name. Glad it's not White Gohan, honestly. But Piccolo's not having it, just for the reason that he doesn't want to be copied. He kind of came up with his own name on his own, and he wants Gohan to kind of find his own name. And then he says Gohan White, which just reminds me of this guy. So I think this is really, really funny. Piccolo's okay with it, even though the white after the Gohan part sounds a little bit off. So Gohan changes it to Gohan Blanco, which honestly, it has, even though it's a meme name and it's part of a old animation from years ago, which honestly the fans made first before Dragon Ball decided to use it, I think that Gohan Blanco would actually kind of grow on me. It'd be like almost like the Espada in Bleach. It feels like specifically it makes sense, and honestly I think that flavorful with the culture and everything, it's pinpoint accurate. I love it. And I love the fact that we're getting Gohan with the full Ultimate Gohan outfit here. I mean, he looks good in the Piccolo gear, don't get me wrong, but something about that, you know, having the Goku gi, the turtle school gi, I just like that, and it just gives me Ultimate Gohan vibes, and this is what it looks like with him with the outfit, and I think he looks great. Piccolo doesn't recognize this transformation. He says that his hair before was way longer and his eyes were far different than they are right now. And so the only difference between this and there was that Gohan was rageful there. Like, he wanted vengeance. He was on bloodlust. So maybe that has some impact on the way that the transformation looks. Like, the more angry he gets, longer his hair gets, and the redder his eyes get. I love that Piccolo says this, because they're going to get down to business. He says, to really understand your new power and abilities, nothing will be more effective than an old-fashioned sparring session. Our goals are simple here. First, to revitalize your fight prowess, and second, to see how proficiently you can control your power in this Blanco state. Because if Gohan's going back to the status quo, his actual fighting prowess may be going down and dulling a little bit for this type of transformation, and you got to see how strong this thing can actually get. Piccolo, Orange Piccolo should I say, in his armored outfit, it looks great. It's gonna stretch with him, so that's something that 100% it makes sense, and I think that it'll get big with him, or maybe it'll look a little bit more smaller on him, whatever, but it'll still stretch. But his second goal is for Gohan to match the power output of Orange Piccolo. Even though right now Piccolo is at his greatest transformation, he even recognizes that Gohan Blanco is way stronger than him, so it's gonna be a real challenge for Gohan Blanco to even like like try to control his ki to level with Orange Piccolo because of how vast that difference is. And this is all with fighting too. Like they're not just standing there and matching. Like he's got to keep this level while fighting. Like this is Gohan in Goon mode. This showcase of power is so grand that Goku and Vegeta are both feeling this power, and Goku for the first time realizes that this is not just a power that Gohan gets when he's mad. Like this is him in a normal state, normal transformation, and he still has this outrageous level of power. Like this is insane. This is something that Whis himself can't ignore. He's seeing what's going on Earth. He's seeing what's going on with these fighters, and he's realizing the reality of the situation, that these are monsters, man. This is a universe filled with monsters, and Gohan Blanco, Beast Gohan, is at the top of that pyramid. I mean, this is such a severe transformation here for both these characters that Whis tells Goku and Vegeta to stay put. Like, he's got to go handle some business because he's got to report to somebody, and even Goku realizes that this energy, it's strange. It's not like normal ki, similar to what Piccolo was saying, and Whis explains the exact same thing. It's something rooted in his potential, similar to Broly, but not exactly that. So what do you mean? Is Gohan also some sort of legendary being? As ridiculous as that sounds, it might actually explain a lot. You should be very well aware by now that one does not need the help of a legend to reach astounding levels of power. That being said, you're not entirely wrong. I'll answer your question in full later. Oh, is it because he's half Saiyan, so he has some sort of special power that normal Saiyans don't have? But that would mean Goten and Trunks possess the potential to unlock this power as well. Maybe they do and we don't know, or maybe Gohan might be like a sort of legendary half Saiyan. Preposterous. Regardless, there'd have to be a legend to go along with the form, and no such half-Saiyan legend exists in Saiyan mythology. It would be more likely that he is some sort of legendary human, and said legend has been lost to time. No, Goku, Vegeta. This is a much different matter. Today we continue Dragon Ball Multiverse's spin-off, Blancoverse, the story of the origin of Beast Gohan in Dragon Ball Super. Back in Universe 11, at this exact same time, Jiren walks up the steps to this massive building, but he feels something, he senses something. This is the moment that Jiren feels the ki coming from Gohan and Piccolo, who are right now in an epic battle between Orange Piccolo and Beast Gohan. And Jiren alone knows the gravity of this power, and he is interested. Feelings are often hard to describe. Never once has Gohan questioned the nature of the many mystical energies he and others constantly use in abundance. Yet now he turns to an old mentor to solve a riddle he somehow desperately wants to know the answer to. What is this new power? And this intro to the continuation of the fight basically sums up exactly what's going on, which is Gohan and Piccolo, they're both in a epic sparring match with their new transformations. Piccolo's trying to figure out the extent to his power. He kind of already knows where his power came from, but he's trying to figure out the limits to it. But at the same time, right now, he's trying to help Gohan figure out exactly what Beast Gohan is. What is this beast power? And exactly like that intro where Goku and Vegeta are trying to figure out where does this power come from, we're all trying to figure that out, and it sounds like Whis knows the answer. And for now with this fight, Piccolo and Gohan are on equal footing. They are essentially not overwhelming the other with their new power. They are pretty equal, they're even, but for how long? We don't know how long that's gonna last, how far Piccolo can push his new transformation, and what are the hidden depths to Gohan's transformation. But he says it right here. He says that this transformation, the beast transformation, it's like making him want to seek answers. It's like the transformation, the power itself, has him forced and focused on a sense of what the hell are we? What are we now, and how much further can the beast transformation go? And just on size alone, this does not surprise me when Piccolo gets a damn good uppercut, because Piccolo's arms are so much longer than Gohan's just by the reach alone, and the imbued power of Orange Piccolo from Shenron, this is definitely a hit that is no laughing matter. And honestly, on a normal Saiyan, on a normal day, this will knock them out. Piccolo is quick to follow up on his success because he uses a technique that focuses all the energy he's got and force into his elbow, elbowing Gohan further out away from him. He's trying to get Gohan at a distance and as completely disoriented as he possibly can, because this next attack that Piccolo seemingly is about to charge up here is something that needs a lot of room to breathe, and it's one of my favorite attacks in all of Dragon Ball, let alone Piccolo's. As Gohan quickly recovers, you see that he's taken minimal damage and he's not like completely out of it right now. He's just a little bit disoriented. He sees what I can only describe as Hell Zone Grenade, Piccolo's finest move that needs to come back for some love. And I want to see, I mean, right now we're seeing the Orange Piccolo version of this, but I want to see it in actual animation. I want to see that Hell Zone Grenade go off. Gohan, quick to action. He is immediately realizing the danger that he is presently in and how powerful this attack actually is. This attack has thousands of ki blasts, each with the same level, same strength of ki and attack power, and they all follow you. They have basically honed in on your position. There are thousands of honing missiles directly guided toward their target, and if Gohan takes any bit of damage from all of these combined, which is what it's meant to do, this could be putting him in a rough spot. He could actually lose his match. So Gohan flies as fast as he possibly can, and I mean, in this transformation, it's gotta be like some of the fastest flying that we've definitely seen in Dragon Ball. Probably the fastest anybody has gone on Earth, because this is the Beast transformation, and so it is the top tier when it comes to the Z Squad transformation. So he's going really fast and kind of outrunning them. They're barely catching on, and now because he's going through canyons and stuff and rocks, they are blowing up on impact. Like, he's losing a lot of them, which is good. Not good for Piccolo whatsoever. Almost all of them explode because Gohan is flying in a zigzag type pattern through this canyon, and they're just tearing up this canyon. Honestly, if these have the level of strength to hurt Beast Gohan coming from Orange Piccolo, you would imagine that each one of these blasts would be like mini nukes on this canyon surface. Like, it would just eliminate most life on this planet if you would think about it. But yeah, this is, you know, this is Dragon Ball. It's not going to do that. But Gohan realizes now that, yeah, even though he flew through the canyon to try to get rid of as many as he could, and you guys saw the canyon, the panels for the canyon when he's flying through the canyon, you saw that he blew up a bunch of them. A lot of them exploded in this canyon, but now there's more than there was before, and to me that means that most of them probably didn't go through the canyon. They probably went above the canyon because of the fact that they're not trying to get blown up. So Piccolo can almost kind of control these in a sense through his manipulation of this attack. This technique is that powerful. Piccolo is not amused, and he is not impressed with Gohan's strategy here, his tactics, because dodging, running away, that's something that's meant to be in the favor of this attack, because once you get tired enough and your ki is low, you will get hit by this attack. And Piccolo tells it how it is. If he keeps on dodging, if he keeps on trying to blow them up with the planet itself, then he'll just make more. He'll make more to chase them down. Like, he will make as many as need to get the job done. And Gohan knows this, and he's getting kind of upset by it. Piccolo has him on the run now. There's a never-ending source of these ki blasts that are basically homing missiles, like a never-ending source of missiles coming right at you. Eventually, when you start losing steam, they will catch up to you and they will destroy you. Still evading, still running away, Gohan stops at the bottom of a canyon and quickly, and you can see just the level of speed here, he shoots north. He shoots up into the sky and heads off way ahead of them as they begin to blast into the bottom of this canyon. So he tried to round them all up and get them all to blow up at once, and at that point maybe he'll have to deal with less. But even as he's flying away, a few of these stragglers are still flying toward him, and for them to have this much of an impact on Gohan's decision making here, where he is flying away, he's trying to get as far away from them as possible, means that each one of these blasts probably has the potential to do really big damage to him. And if they stop him and they all hit him at the same time, it could honestly end the transformation and put him back into Mystic. So this is a serious attack that Gohan is trying to defend against by running away. Gohan stops mid-air, and in this scene, this panel right here, he essentially accepts his fate because he stops, they don't stop, they're still coming. You can see that now there's the same amount as there were earlier, so him dodging, running away, and trying to make them explode really didn't do much to stop his attackers, to stop them from coming at him. And I love his face right here in this corner panel right here. He's just kind of like accepting the fact that they need to blow up on him, or at least maybe he's got something up his sleeve, some way of stopping them. But it looks like they've made contact in this panel, and they're in the early stages of blowing up, which they do. And you see that Piccolo is getting gassed out here. He got a little bit gassed out, not only maneuvering them, but creating more. But he laughs here. He thinks that, you know, this is it. This is over. And he verifies that if all of these had hit Gohan, which we don't know if they haven't yet, they may have. I don't know the next panel. I'm reading this with you guys. I haven't read ahead. But he thinks that this would have ended Gohan, at least ended his transformation, maybe knocked him out. And even though, you know, he's got all this power from the Beast Gohan transformation, he still has a lot to learn. And Piccolo's kind of like chiding him here because, like, yeah, you know, you may have to go back to school on this one. Piccolo says here that Gohan should have gone directly for the offensive and directed the attacks back on him, similar to what Goku did with Frieza on Namek. And he says that it's not the balls that have cornered him, it's basically Piccolo. Piccolo's the one using the battle strategy and the tactics that he knows to keep Gohan on the run. Gohan made the wrong decision by trying to evade them and run away. And Piccolo's kind of like patting himself on the back here because he says no matter how strong and powerful that you are, battle strategy is the most important thing above all. And realizing this, he also says that, I mean, he tried to help Gohan figure out this new power of his by sparring with him. And remember, the rule between them was that in the beginning of the sparring match, Gohan was never to exceed the power that Piccolo has, because Gohan's power is much greater. But even though that's the case, Piccolo says it's tough because he'd have to get past that ledge to kind of have the upper hand against Piccolo. And Piccolo thinks that if he were in that position where he had to keep the same level of power, being on the run like he was, then yeah, it'd be rough for him as well. Then Piccolo suddenly realizes he has not felt his energy at all since it blew up. Like, can it be that he got blown up to smithereens, that Piccolo took this test too far? But no, that was not it at all, because Piccolo turns just in time for Gohan to lunge right at him, block through his arms, try to get in a hit, but Piccolo is too fast and he catches it. Remember, that was the problem he had earlier. He couldn't get past Piccolo's long ass grasp, so he tried to get through it by faking his own death essentially. But no, it seems like more likely Gohan muted his power level so nobody else could sense it, then came in to try to get in for the kill. Piccolo is pissed because it looks like Gohan is completely unscathed from the attack, and he thinks that Gohan cheated and raised his power level to withstand the explosion, although you would think his clothes would be completely tattered if that was the case. But no, Gohan says it was quite the opposite. He reduced his power all the way to 0, so you know, Piccolo really couldn't sense him because that was the case. But the way he did it was that he released all his ki, all his energy in like one concentrated form, almost like making a mirage, which he hoped that the homing missiles would be attracted to, and they were. They actually went for his mirage, which was the ki that he expelled from his body. And after that, he dropped, kept his energy and his ki low, that way he can sneak up behind Piccolo and try to finish him off, which to me, that's like a brilliant way to stop that attack. And having ki mirages as a technique is something that I think it would be so cool in the Dragon Ball anime. to put in there. Like, I love the fact that Dragon Ball fan manga artists and creators, and even like the animators that do the Dragon Ball fan movies and animations, like they come up with creative ways to use ki that I've never seen before, and this one I have never seen before. Piccolo just stares at Gohan like, this dude right here, can't believe this motherfucker right here. And Gohan's like, it looks like you're as sharp as ever though, because you stopped my attack at the last second. Gohan was surprised, but then Piccolo like headbutts him and says that the sparring session is now over. And Piccolo says that he's learned enough about Gohan's power to come to a conclusion. Remember, that was the only reason they were doing this to begin with. Piccolo is completely impressed with Gohan's ki control, because not only can he, keep the ki at the same level throughout the entire fight as Piccolo's, just like Piccolo asked, even though the pressure of the battle was like asking for him to make it higher, only for Gohan to release all his ki in a ki mirage for the attack to go after in one instant, and in another, a few seconds later, charge back up for the ending attack, which is something that even Piccolo would have a hard time doing. So Piccolo's actually curious how he managed to have such a high level of ki control when Gohan barely trains at all. Gohan just says that it's intuition. He just feels that it's what he has to do in a fight, and then it just ends up working out for him, basically. Like, he's able to just do these things relatively easily without having any training. But Piccolo is not buying it. Intuition does not give him the capacity to do the things that he's been doing in the first place. There's absolutely no way. Regardless of how strong he is, people need to train to get this kind of control. Piccolo comes to the conclusion that Blanco is not a simple power-up. It has a lot of strangeness to it, and it's not just a normal transformation. He thinks that it grants the user unnatural talents, especially in ki control, making it so the user can use ki at an advanced level, as well as fight at an advanced level. That's why Gohan can fight at such a high tier, higher than most people that don't really train and don't do anything else. Piccolo thought originally that it could have been Gohan's Saiyan blood that is keeping him so good at fighting even though he's not trained. He doesn't think that's normal. He thinks that the transformation is granting Gohan higher levels of fighting and instinctual fighting than anybody else would possess. Gohan immediately thinks about his dad, that this form is similar to Ultra Instinct. I mean, it looks very similar, and it's a form that you can fight without thinking, so could Beast be a form like that as well? Piccolo thinks that it is very similar, but it's different in major ways, because Ultra Instinct has a huge stamina burden, while Gohan had shown no signs of fatigue throughout the entire fight. And even though Gohan has been fighting at a higher level, Gohan's body is not fighting on its own accord, unlike how Ultra Instinct makes their user evade on its own. But this is what Piccolo is getting at, that since Blanco is so strongly resemblant to one of the angel forms, then maybe he can talk to Whis and get more information about the form, which makes sense. If Ultra Instinct is an angelic form, or a form very similar to the angels, maybe there's others that are similar, like Beast, that could be an angelic form. Gohan 100% is down to go talk to Whis as soon as possible. Meanwhile, in Universe 6, somebody stands up on a stage in front of a large crowd and Pride Trooper Superman. The mysterious stranger walking up is none other than Toppo in his Sunday's best. And as he walks up to the podium, he thanks the announcer for the introduction that he had given him, and he says, as Lieutenant Wazowski said, we are gathering here today to celebrate our recent victory on planet Guago. But Lieutenant Wazowski, this guy looks kind of like Mike Wazowski from Monsters Inc., so I see the resemblance here. I see why they put that here. But apparently the Pride Troopers are celebrating a victory on a planet full of terrorists that was one of the most toughest battles the Pride Troopers have had in their entire history. Toppo talks about some of the details on this mission, saying that the civilization of planet Guago was deep underground. Most of them are underground in tunnels, so they had to first go through operations deep underground, which isn't just normal expertise for all the Pride Troopers. It's not normally what they do, because a lot of them can fly. I would imagine they're more comfortable up in the air, and then they have to go into kind of like tunnel rat situation, close quarter fighting with using minimal ki, going through the dark grimy tunnels. In the end, even though it was a brutal fight, they had a planetary siege on the planet for 3 months and then clean up for 12 months to eliminate all the terrorists. So I don't know if that means that the entire civilization were terrorists or they were just terrorists on the planet, because partly this could mean that, you know, these guys, this is a bad planet, so, you know, they killed all the terrorists that were there, or this could be like a genocide by the prize troopers. I have no idea what they're talking about. So even though they're celebrating this huge victory on planet Guago, that's not the only reason they're having this meeting. This is the day that Toppo is announcing his retirement as Commander-in-Chief of the Pride Troopers. He no longer will be their leader. Belmont has wanted to retire as God of Destruction for years, and Toppo has been pushing it back, but now with this huge victory on one of the bloodiest and most epic battles in the Pride Troopers history, he thought this would be the great time to resign as his last hurrah and go for a greater calling, which would be a God of Destruction. So Toppo uses his own financials to fund a huge celebration, massive 12 tournament celebration with a bunch of games and shows, races, and it's all on a planet with beautiful skies, beautiful oceans, almost like a retreat for everybody, because he doesn't need the money. He's going to become a God of Destruction. They don't need money to survive, so he is going to pay for all of it out of pocket. There's going to be delicious food, treats, drinks. Everything is going to be fully supplied, and every Pride Troopers family members and just people from the planet that they're going to be on can join in the celebrations. Toppo dismisses them, but they start asking who's going to be the new commander, who's going to be leading the Pride Troopers now. Toppo slyly forgot this, but he just didn't want to talk about it because he's got no actual decision yet, and he can't put everybody's minds at ease, so he'd rather forget about it. But he can't decide. He's not going to put any vote for who's going to be the commander. He's going to let the Council of the Pride Troopers decide. That way he is completely removed. But he promises that it's going to be somebody that's worthy to succeed him 100%. And with that, Toppo says goodbye to all his friends, all his comrades, everybody that's been day one since the very beginning, and the festivities are about to commence. Hours after the match, some Pride Troopers finally find JIREN, and they're asking him if he knows anything about the process of who's going to be the leader for the next Pride Troopers. Has he heard anything or any candidates? And JIREN says no, I believe that 100%. I don't even think JIREN really cares. And so JIREN confesses this is the first he's hearing about all of this, actually, so he doesn't really know. And one of the Pride Troopers gets upset. It looks like these may be actual cadets or something, and he's like, they're leaving JIREN out purposely out of any discussion when it comes to the Pride Troopers. But JIREN squashes that too. Don't think ill of the troopers, and he apologizes. JIREN says he doesn't make himself available very often, so he doesn't want to burden the council because he can't be participating with every single decision, so they just kind of leave him out of it because he is on his own. He does his own thing most of the time. But this is exactly what I thought that they were talking about when they first addressed him, because they're wanting him to be the next leader for the Pride Troopers. This one recruit is a little bit out of pocket here because he says that people think that JIREN is all brawn, no brains, and he thinks that if he became Commander-in-Chief, this would demonstrate leadership and more people will respect him, which is, I think everybody respects JIREN over there. I don't think that he needs to become a leader in like the traditional sense to be respected, but JIREN says the same thing. He says, I don't care, and I'd rather show it. Exactly. I'd rather show what I can do and why I'm useful and why they need me. That's how I get respect. I don't need a title. And he says that it's up to the council. They have to choose somebody. If JIREN gets involved, it'll be going against Toppo's will, and he's not about to do that. JIREN says, don't think too hard about it. Enjoy yourselves, okay? You don't need to be thinking and worrying yourself over this new election. Enjoy the party that Toppo has made for you. And that is where we're at with today's manga chapter, guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications if you guys want to keep up to date with this manga specifically, or any other manga that I have on here. Is going to be Blackscape signing off. Take care, guys.
Subscribe for more content. Or perish.